Hello, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, this is going to be a finance update and, some other financial things thrown in there. I love talking about finances and I'm very open about my finances, but I know that's not everybody's thing, especially here on my channel. My finance videos are typically not watched as much as my other ones. However, I do update monthly on my blog, livinglikeleila.com, and I'll link down below the exact blog post where I break down my monthly debt, like my total debt, and then my exact spending for the month. And I do keep track of everything because I'm just a bit obsessive when it comes to finances, but I did want to give a bit of an update. This was kind of requested. Somebody did ask to see, for me to discuss how much I spend on average. So that is what I'm going to start with, where just talk about my personal finances and some other financial topics. So let's just jump right into it. I will leave timestamps down below of everything that I'm talking about in case you're interested in one thing or the other. But let's get into it. So first of all, I wanted to talk about my total debt, and I wanted to pull up my Excel spreadsheet. So I keep track of my debt on Google Sheets from largest to smallest. As of right now, I have a little under $37,000 in student loans, a little under $15,000 for my car loan. I have about $2,000 on one credit card and $4,000 on another credit card. So, well, I guess those, $4,000 on one, $2,000 on the other. So that leaves me in debt almost $59,000 as of right now, a bit under. If you go back and watch a video from a few months ago, I shared that I was credit card debt free, and I am back in credit card debt, but that is because I did a balance transfer of my student loans to two separate credit cards, both of which are at 0% APR for a year. And I will talk about that in just a moment, but that is where my credit card debt is coming in. But I will talk about that in just a moment. So that's the credit card debt. That's what that covers. I haven't really gone into further debt for just spending money on my credit cards. Just to be clear, I still am just paying my minimum payment on the car, and I'm still paying my minimum payment on my student loans. Before, I had a total of 11 student loans, and now I'm down to 7 because of those balance transfers and just other, I have made a video of paying off a whole student loan before. So there is some progress there. However, it's been slow progress for me lately just because a lot of issues have come up in regards to my finances. So one major one was that I had another root canal, and I do have dental insurance, and it's really good dental insurance. The problem is that I am in the 1-year waiting period for root canals to be covered, unfortunately. So I did have to pay my root canal in full, which is over $1,000, plus I have to get a crown, which I have not even gotten yet, so that's another expense. I didn't have to, but I did get some work done on my car, and I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just ignored them and either gone somewhere else or not gotten it done quite yet. But it is what it is. That is over $300, which was a decent chunk of cash to put to my car. The other setback I don't really want to talk about on here, but the good news is that I will get the money back that I have lost as of lately. In the future, I may talk about it in more detail. I do give more detail on that situation on my blog because it's just a better place to talk about it if you're interested. But yeah. Okay, I wanted to talk about the balance transfers that I mentioned. So I transferred over $6,000 to two separate credit cards. And I know that my credit card companies were doing this because I was credit card debt free. My credit score went up a whole bunch after I paid off my credit card debt. And I know that I wasn't really using my credit cards as much, so they wanted me to use it, and they're probably hoping that I won't pay this off in time. So in June, I believe it was, I did this balance transfer 0% APR for a full year, so I have until June to pay this off without paying any interest. And there was a balance transfer fee of 2% or 3%, maybe I think 3% on one card, 2% on the other card, both of which had a $0 balance before those balance transfers. This is what helped me to pay off my student loans, and this was my student loans. I had one that was like, I think 5%, 5 point something percent, and the other 2 or 3 were in the 4% somewhere, 4.41. There were a couple that were 5%, whatever. So technically, yes, this is saving me money, but after doing the math, it doesn't save me that much because of those transfer fees. It does save me money though, just not significant. Would I do this again? No, probably not. Only because I think because now I have to pay extra toward my credit cards, and $6,000, and I haven't made that much progress on them because of like those setbacks and such, and it made things a little bit more stressful. So I think what I realized that now I would have rather been saving a little bit more money, like a larger emergency fund, rather than paying extra towards my debt at this point. I mean, it's over with at the end of the day, so I can't take it back. I already did the balance transfers, so it's whatever. But I do plan on paying those off by June. I know I can do it. I know I will do it. It's just kind of holding me back a little bit from saving. I'm hoping I can make a lot more progress starting in January on those 2 credit cards because, yeah, it's just been, I don't think it was worth it, in the long run. For the couple $100 that it's saving me, I don't think it was necessary. So I would definitely do your research and do your calculations before doing a balance transfer. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a bad thing, but just be aware that it's not as good of a deal as you think it is. The other thing is those balance transfers dropped my credit score pretty significantly, like probably 20 plus points. I don't remember, but I went from having 0 credit card debt to like 30 something percent credit card utilization. So my score dropped. And however, one of my credit cards, they increased my limit by like $4,000. So that ended up like helping with that. I'm not using that extra $4,000, don't worry. But that did help my credit score in the long run, and it's back up to kind of where it was before. I also wanted to discuss sinking funds. So I have a sinking fund for taxes and emergency savings. For a little bit in vacation, I have a car sinking fund, gifts, and medical and dental. So I am so glad I made these sinking funds, and I use my Marcus by Goldman Sachs high yield savings account because I have the money in there and it is gaining interest while it's just sitting in there, rather than being in my Bank of America checking or saving account, which doesn't really build any interest at all. It's like pennies. And the other thing I like about the Marcus account, and there's other banks that you can do this with, online banks, but I like that I can break it down into those categories and have separate savings accounts. So like with Bank of America, they don't have that option, at least not that I'm aware of. Maybe they do, but I wouldn't choose to go with Bank of America anyway. So I like that I can break it down into those separate savings, and then once I need the money, I can bring it back over. So I have like almost $1,000 in gifts. I did have money in medical and car, but I used those because like I said, the 2 financial setbacks I had, but it wasn't enough to cover like what I had to pay. Vacation, I'm still growing. Taxes and emergency savings is just sitting there, and I'm still growing it. So I have like over $3,000 in my sinking funds, which is awesome. And I am so glad I did that. I highly recommend you start a sinking fund, even if it's like a cash sinking fund or something like that, where you can put, even if it's like just $20 a month or $10 a month into it. It's so helpful, and it's so nice to have that. It's when you remove it from your bank account, your actual checking account that you see more often than like a high yield savings account, it's as if the money's already gone. So it's like a mental game, you know, like you having to pay for something isn't so bad because it's almost like a discount because you're not seeing that money already, if that makes sense. I definitely recommend having sinking funds. That is one of the best financial decisions I've made this year. As of lately, I've kind of been a little bit more chill about my debt, like just putting less pressure on myself, because while I'm not on track to pay off my debt by April 2022, which is my goal, I very well at the same time am on track, because I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Like my side hustle income has grown a lot this year compared to last year. So who knows what next year will bring? Who knows what my income will be going forward from my full-time job or a different job, or like I don't know what the situation will be. I don't know my living situation. So right now I probably put about $1,000 at least to my debt every single month. I have to pay a minimum of about $700. And if I wanted to pay off, if I do the math, if I wanted to pay off all my debt by April of 2022, I would need to be putting, I think, like $1,600 each month to my debt. But who knows, like if by this time next year, what if I can start putting like $2,000 or more per month to my debt? Or what if one month I get an extra lump sum of money and I can put like $5,000 to my debt? So I am just like trusting the process, you know, like I know I can make that goal. And even if I don't, like it's not the end of the world. And I'm still striving for that, of course. I'm not like giving up on that goal. It's just that I'm not gonna stress myself out so much by obsessively being upset about numbers I haven't hit or whatever the case may be. You know, the thought work that I've been working on in regards to my debt is that this debt does not define me. I am putting a feeling with this debt, and debt is just neutral. And that is something my life coach has been helping me, like teaching me with, because that doesn't define me. Like it's just debt. It's just there. I spent my money in the past and I am now paying that back. Like that's it. It's not necessarily a waste. It's not necessarily a problem. I am able to stay on top of it. I'm not struggling day to day. I know I can eat, I can live, I can do all my basic things and then some. So I am not struggling financially. It is a bit, you know, there are times when I get really frustrated with my debt and I get stressed out. And I'm not gonna lie, I do think about my debt every single day. And I feel like it does hold me back from some things, but like, that is the reality I'm in right now. So I don't want to make my life miserable because of that. So hopefully that makes sense. But I am still keeping track of everything, and I am still pretty obsessive about it all, but not to the point where I allow myself to get so upset about things. Oh yeah, since somebody asked my average monthly spending, I also, like I said, I put that on my blog post, but I do also keep a spreadsheet. So Google Sheets, focus. That's basically everything that I spend each month if you want to pause it. But you know, it's mostly just like living. So on average, if I look at this, okay, I guess I'll run through the things. So between rent, investing into a Roth IRA, donating, renter's insurance, trash, valet trash, which I have to pay for, Wi-Fi, electricity, water, sewage, food, gas for my car, my health, like for health I typically include like my multivitamins and when I get massages, and then paying for my car, my student loans, credit card debt, insurance, that includes life insurance, vision, dental, for my business, I pay for my phone, my car insurance, and then I give my sister extra money for our dogs, and then just other unnecessary expenses, which also includes like my life coach, things of that nature. I spend probably on average, so excluding my savings and excluding paying my debt, I would say it really just depends. I would say on average I spend like $3,000+ a month, but if I'm counting my debt, like how much I put toward my debt, it's like probably 4,500 or so. So I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck, I would say, with how I spend my money. And that is because I chose to live in this apartment. That is because I have this debt and I buy food, I buy a lot of groceries. That's just how it is for me right now. And then my side hustles and such really help me to like really support me with paying off extra towards my debt and just like not feeling so stressed out about things. And then I actively save, so that gives me peace of mind as well. Like I'm never gonna have like $0, you know, like that's not gonna happen because I have several different areas, like I just said, saved up. And yeah, so yes, I do spend a lot of money every month, but that is just right now, and it'll, you know, it just fluctuates with each month, but that's about the average. And I did want to mention my side hustle income. So far this year, I've made probably about $6,000 from blogging, YouTubing, Patreon, all that stuff, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but to me, that's pretty good. So comparing to last year, I've increased my income like 5x, 6x. So I'm hoping I can do that again next year, like 5 times 5,000, 5 times 6,000, whatever. We'll see. But I work really hard on all my, you know, little business ventures. So yeah, I will probably make a separate video on all of that if anybody's interested, but that's the general number right there. So if you haven't started a side hustle, I recommend starting a side hustle because now is the time to do it, sooner rather than later. And then there was one thing I wanted to mention, which is loan forgiveness. And I know that like the presidential election that's going to be coming next year, I know there are some candidates that are saying that they'll take away student loan debt or forgive loans, whatever, a portion of it. But don't get too excited about that, in my opinion. I am not against those people or anything like that. I will not share my political opinion on social media or YouTube ever. But just don't wait for that. And for me, I would like, yeah, that would be awesome if I could get some loans forgiven, but I'm gonna feel so good April 2022 when I pay off all my debt. Like that's gonna be so badass, and I can feel so accomplished. And I already do feel accomplished for how far I've come in how the time that it's been and how much I've already paid off. So it's like I'm gonna feel damn good when April 22 rolls around and I have $0 that I need to pay anybody else. So I kind of look at debt as something that's empowering, as much as it sucks and as much as I'd rather not have it. I just try to shift my focus to like, I can do this, I run this, and not the other way around. And I'm definitely not waiting for a president to clear those loans. And if you end up going into a job that says they'll forgive your loans after like a 10-year commitment or whatever, I don't suggest trusting that either. There's been so many issues with that. So I'm just going to say to do your research in regard to that, but just make a plan for your debt and don't rely on other people or systems to take responsibility for something that you chose to do, you know? And I know that we may have not been educated about it in the past, and that sucks, but like ultimately this is our responsibility. We can't just make it disappear unless you file bankruptcy in regards to credit card and car loans, whatever. But with student loans and stuff, like we chose to take this money out. We used that money because we paid for school or for whatever we did, and that's that. So yeah, that I just wanted to share my opinion on the future of loan forgiveness and all that. I am not waiting on it, and either way, I'm going to keep trying to pay off as much debt as I can. So that's it for my finance update. If you have any specific questions, please comment them down below, or if there's anything you want me to talk about more in regards to finances, please let me know. like I said, go check out my blog post where I update every month my spending and my current debt. I also share my financial ups and downs for the month, but I also write blog posts about finances occasionally, so go check that category out on my blog. But that's gonna be it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.